creativity at its best, and you get to meet the gentleman behind it. Let me introduce my panel this morning. Sitting closer to me is Brian Ayembi. He is an independent graphic designer, and on my far left is Mushiri Mureru, who is a visual artist. He is the man responsible for that what you've seen on air, both clips. That's your work.
That is my work.
That is fantastic work that you have right there.
Thank you.
How long did it take for you to do the last one where you guys were dancing?
That took like probably a month or so.
It took you a month to do that?
To do just that. Most people don't get it, but 3D animation is quite a lot of work. It's not child's play.
Take me through the process.
The process, first of all, you have to create the character. But by creating, you first of all start with maybe sketching the character, coming up with the concept of what you want the character to look like.
Right.
Then you take the sketches to a 3D software. In my case, I use a software called Cinema 4D.
Cinema 4D.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once it's on Cinema 4D, then now you can start maybe sculpting and modeling the character. Then
like actual sculpting?
It is an actual sculpting, but in digital form. Yeah, like it's just a way of, just a kind of like a wider way of sculpting, like in real life. If you have the skills of sculpting, then you go into 3D, then it's going to be easier for you.
Okay.
But then it's in digital. Then after that, maybe you can do some stuff called retopologizing, which simply means like make the mesh easier for you to rig it up and start animating. So it's quite a lot of processes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this needs a lot of dedication. Brian,
Yes.
you are in graphics. What's the difference now between graphics and then what Musheru is doing, animation? Just paint for that and help our audience understand that.
3D animation, it's more to deal with, okay, graphic design, what I deal with normally is posters and stuff like CD covers, and it's just an image that is used to take your mind somewhere, you know. But the way I see it, animation is more like, it's like a visual, it's like a graphic image which is in motion. Yeah, that's the difference I see between graphics and
what is the longest period that you've had to take? Like for Musheru, for example, he took about, he said a month to create it.
Yeah.
For graphic designers, what
depends
project?
with the work. If you're doing posters or CD covers, it doesn't take that long, maybe a week. But if you're doing something like a website or a magazine, it might take a while, depending on how much information you want to put on there. Yeah.
Okay, so it depends on the sort of work that you've gotten.
Yeah.
Musheru, do you feel as if animation in Kenya is growing, especially given the fact that now majority, well, not all, but some of our adverts have now become
Animated.
Yes.
Yeah, it's growing, and I think we need to put out more, in fact. I see so much interest, like especially when I release any kind of animation, there's a lot of feedback, as opposed to any other thing that I've been doing. Like I could release maybe, I also do video directing videos. I could post a video that I've directed, but the minute I've posted an animation, like there's so much interest that comes along with it. And I think we just need to put out a lot more content for our own Kenyan market.
Right. Do you think the Kenyan market is ready and ripe for it?
Ready in terms of maybe buying it, maybe making a film, no. But maybe for advertising, yes.
I'm glad you say that maybe for buying, no, because then that poses as a challenge to this unique, small, but growing tender industry.
Yeah.
Paint for me an image of some of the challenges that you feel that animators or the world of animation that they face specifically.
In Kenya, to be specific,
yes. Yeah.
I don't think like we could make anything that people can buy, because again, it takes a lot of time, and of course, time is money. So when you put a lot of time, then you get no one to buy the product, then it's going to be also, it's going to be a loss, basically. So we need to have maybe, especially the youths, when they like, they're employed, that's going to be easier for us like to sell stuff to them. But right now in the current situation where there's a lot of unemployment, and then it's going to be tricky for us like to make any kind of product that's going to sell per se. For advertising, then it's different because it's a corporate or a company that is purchasing your product. They have a concept for it.
Okay.
But specifically for selling stuff, it's going to be tricky because, yeah, animation is quite something. It's a lot. Yeah.
And it's such a raw field here in Kenya, so people don't understand how to go about
exactly.
it.
They just think it's just, you just wake up and you make something and it's
And make
done.
a cartoon.
Yeah, that's what they think, most of the guys, but it's not really the case. It's the most complicated form of art in my case.
Okay, Brian, what about for graphic designers in general?
The challenges?
Yeah.
The challenges for graphic designers is mainly the creativity behind the image or your work, and mostly getting the right feel out of what you're doing. Most of the time, you get work and you work on it, and it's not what someone visioned, or it's not the idea that someone had. So you end up conflicting, or he ends up not liking your work. Not that it's not good. It's just he had a different idea. So the challenge is mostly, connecting. Yeah.
And do you think Kenyans appreciate the visual industry in itself in general, not just graphics or animation, but just the visual industry in total?
For the most part, I think Kenyans do appreciate the visual aspect of everything, because it's used everywhere, from billboards to posters for advertising clothes, and even the campaign stuff,
Right.
A lot of graphics, so I think they do appreciate it. Yeah.
And I think both of you are clear examples that it does pay bills and put food on the table as well, as a career.
Definitely. It does help out. Yeah.
Msheru?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, animation is still growing, but I could say there's a lot of potential to make money through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the opportunities that are there within the market, especially now that we are living in what is known as the fourth digital era, the 3D that you had mentioned, we're living the opportunities that are, for example, in Western countries. Do you feel as if they are also being shared here in Kenya and generally on the African continent, Musheru?
Yeah, there are opportunities, yes, they are coming up. I would say, yes, there's also a lot of temptations to go and do stuff in other countries,
Right.
because, I mean, we are just starting up the industry per se, right? It's not a very big industry in Kenya, so there are a lot of challenges here. But, I mean, we should, I think we should stick and make it grow so that the other guys who are coming up, they at least have an easier time.
All right, Brian?
I think it has potential to switch up the way everybody did everything, because it's a different culture and everything from Western. I think we'll bring something new to the table, and something that people have never seen before. So I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mushe, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you found yourself doing animation. What really got your interest? And you said, you know what, this is what I want to study and this is what I want to pursue. How did you find yourself in this unique industry?
Animation for me was a cartoon. For me, that's what I used to call it early in the days. So when I was in about 14 years old or 13, can't remember, I went home, I was in boarding school, then I found my father had bought a computer.
Right.
And the first question I just asked is, can this thing make cartoons? So I was already very interested in making animations or stock cartoons. And through that, the passion has been there, but eventually I'm able to actually make the passion real. So it's not been something that has been easy, because again, there are not many places where you can learn animation in Kenya.
When you go back, did you feel as if your parents really supported you when you told them, this is what I want to study?
At first, I was a kid, so they were like, oh, yeah, whatever. Yeah, do what you want to do. But much later on, it was kind of tricky, because, again, they were not sure if I would be able to make any kind of living through doing this. But yeah, right now I could say they are really, really supportive, because they're already seeing what I'm doing, the potential in it.
All right, Brian, tell me your story. How did you find yourself as a graphic designer?
All my life I wanted to be an entertainer, so I always had that interest in doing something. I started off doing music and got a grasp on there. And before I knew it, I needed a poster for, my CDs, give them out. And it was expensive to go, go get someone to do it for you. So I decided I'm gonna make my own, and that's how I started with graphics. And before I knew it, we started taping videos with a few friends around. So I can also edit, and from there on, it just kept working. We're doing series, we're doing movies, and we're animating, we're doing graphics, we're doing everything.
When you shared with your folks that this is the line of work you want to concentrate on, what was their response?
Okay, at first they didn't really understand what it was, so my dad wasn't for it at first. Yeah, he always wanted me to do maybe a course in math or something. But it started catching on, and he started to see for himself. People started telling him, yo, the graphic industry has a lot of money coming in and stuff like that. And he actually saw some of my work, and he was really impressed, especially my mom. She was shocked. It kind of scared her. So after that, they started supporting me slowly. Like, at first, they didn't have my back, but for now, they do. And if something comes up, they always refer me or anything of the sort.
That is fantastic. So you already have the support of now of your family and friends. 100%. What do you think the government can do? Be it maybe the ICT docket or the youth docket? Because a lot of the young people are in this industry. What would you like to see the government doing to empower this industry?
You know, not a lot of people are out there like that. We need help with pushing our stuff out. That's the main problem. And not a lot of people have the opportunities or to show their work, or, you know, not really sure what they could do, but they could help with, you know, advertising or, you know, giving the youths the proper platform to get them out there, get their work out there at least.
Okay, share your thoughts.
I think they should loosen up, especially for the film industry. You know, there's a lot of legislations that are just not working for us. And if things become at least fluid kidogo, like they're flowing, then things are going to work out for us. And even I'm going to encourage other upcoming artists to actually get in the industry, right? But as of now, I mean, there are so many limitations. You can't do a lot of things. Like, I mean, recently I heard about they wanted to curb some YouTube, whatever, you know, and it's crazy. I mean, that's why we put our content, you know.
That's actually true, because, you know, there's a lot of people who want to do stuff, and they won't do nothing because they're scared, you know. They don't want people running up on them saying, hey, where's your license? Or, you know, what are you doing? Who gave you permission? So people they want to do it, but, you know, inside they don't want to do it because it's like you're getting yourself in trouble.
All right. And do you feel as if, especially for animation, because animation can be used in different aspects, more so in movies, that do you have courage or confidence that Kenya's industry will get to that power, or even Africa's general industry will get there, where we are actually not only supporting, but we acknowledge the work that is behind animation, be it in form of adverts, in a movie, and so forth?
What I see in Kenya especially is most people are like the pre-colonial mindset.
Right.
Like they don't want to support their own. They feel like their own is not good enough and stuff. Until we really get rid of that mindset, we cannot really say that we're going to have anything that is going to be appreciated. It starts from the mindset to people now appreciating. Like you could also see this in the music industry. So many people like just want to listen to the Western kind of stuff, but even like the performers, they just bring in a Western singer, and I mean the crowd just flocks, you know.
Right. So it starts with here at home as appreciating.
It starts with appreciating, but also the mentality in itself. It's not good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brian, I'm glad that earlier on you talked about the differences between the creative industry and perhaps clients. That you have seen it this way, but a client has seen it that way.
Yeah.
How do you go about such a challenge? Because at the end of the day, you are working with your client, and you also, as a creative person, have set a sense of way that you would like your work to be seen.
Yeah. Okay. The main thing you have to keep in mind it's the client's work. So they know best. You can't tell them no. This is how it's going to be. So the main thing is working with him, mostly talking to him, trying to find out his mindset on the project so that you can see what you can bring to the table.
And do you feel when it comes to now paying for your sort of work, paying for the work that you've put in, the nights, that they appreciate that as well as clients? Or when that happens now, that's a different scenario?
Okay, I can't speak for everybody, but for the people that I've worked with, they showed respect. I mean, yeah, they appreciated my work. Some of them even came back, so I think on that part, yeah, they appreciate it.
Mshiri, you had mentioned that a lot of people just think it's just throwing cartoons outside there.
Yeah.
So does the lack of acknowledging and appreciating animation and visual artists have an effect on your pricing? And when you go tell clientele, this is my budget, this is what I'm asking for, and this is my work.
Yeah. Most of the time they would understand.
Right.
They'd be like, what do you mean all this much, So you find yourself in a situation where you want to do something because, again, first of all, it's usually a passion. You're really interested in maybe doing that thing for the client. But again, you also know you have to pay your bills. You need some money to also start the project. There's a lot that goes in it. So, and they don't really understand how intense this thing is. So it kind of makes you try to maybe lower your budget. But
and that's the thing,
necessarily.
Mshiri, because a lot of people that within the creative industry that I've had a chance to interact with, like any other platform, you show your client that this is my quotation. They look at it and they back away.
Yeah.
How do you deal with such challenges within your industry?
If you cannot appreciate me, then there's no need to work with you. I mean, it might come out as pride, but again, you know your worth. If you know your worth, then you won't let people just walk all over you. If someone wants a good quality product, they need to be able to appreciate it in whatever way. They might not even pay. I don't need to be paid all the time. I can also do something for free, but I also need to know the benefits of doing that.
Right.
So it's not always about money, yes, but again, people really need to understand that we put blood and sweat in this craft. Most of the time I go sleepless nights just doing this stuff. So, you just need someone who's going to appreciate and say, you know what, this thing takes a lot of time, and this is the much you can pay. Maybe might not fit your budget, but again, you can see their effort.
All right, Brian, how do you handle that when you show your client that this is my quotation, and they look at it and they walk off or they go away because they don't understand and perhaps respect and appreciate the visual industry in itself?
Mostly before I start working with a client, I show them my work, some of my previous work or my portfolio, so they can have an idea of what I can do or what I can show to them. And considering let's say, for example, if he was doing a poster, I would charge based on all the work that he would want on there. If it's something like, let's say a magazine, yeah, I have those set prices in the budget that I want to work on. And if he's not for it, maybe I can try and see what he's offering, and if it's not worth it, I won't stress myself out because, as Mshiri said, it's long nights, you dedicate yourself, and it takes time. It's not as easy as everybody thinks it is. It actually takes time, and there's a process it won't finish all in one day. It's like you'll do half of it today, get some rest, wake up, do something else. So as far as the budget and everybody paying, it's a set price, and if they're not with it, I'll tell them it's okay. I'll find someone else.
All right, and Brian, do you feel as if you look at the animation, not even just animation, the visual industry itself, from graphics to animators and so forth, that how does one, especially here in Kenya, because Mushiri brought up an interesting point, that there are not so many institutions or places to learn and grow your craft.
Yeah.
How do you then walk around that? Because you need to be better than you are tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, there isn't a lot of institutions that have that. But most of this stuff, with YouTube and everything, you know, you could find a lot of things online. So, me personally, I started on my own, watching videos, tutorials on YouTube, you know, just learning step by step, learning something new. And then I started to implement these ideas on my project. So it started to help. And once you learn something, you know, you grasp it in your head, and it's like you already know it. So before you know it, you're already a top dog in that industry. Yeah.
Mushiri?
Yeah, so there's a lack of institutions, but again, we also don't have a lot of animators per se in my industry. In Kenya, we're going to go in those institutions and teach what they know.
Why, by the way?
Because it's just a new industry. So, I mean, there are other institutions that say they teach animation, but I wonder who the animators are there who are teaching. You know, it's crazy. So for me, I just think, as of now, anyone who wants to learn animation should just do it by themselves. It should be a passion, and you should be able to sit down with your computer and put in time to learn the craft.
Do the work.
But going to a school right now in Kenya, I don't trust any kind of school that's going to give any quality.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
because there are no animators in Kenya. There are not many animators. So who is going to teach you in that school?
So in terms of education, that's also an aspect where we are lacking in.
Yeah. Because if you look at maybe in the US, there are a lot of animators, there are a lot of animation studios. And in these animation schools, they have those instructors who are already doing it in a professional way, coming to the schools and teaching the students. So in Kenya, who is going to the schools and teaching? So it doesn't make sense for me to hear about an animation school.
So do you
in
agree
Kenya.
with Brian when you say like the one way to stay on top of your game is YouTube?
YouTube.
How else would you learn?
Tutorials, like for me, I do paid tutorials. There are sites like lynda.com, Pluralsight, Digital Tutors. So there are a lot of places where you can learn. But again, there are also professional teachers. Online, you get so many teachers, like instead of like a classroom where you only have one teacher, or when you're online, you have like 20, 100 teachers doing the same thing in a different way. So you end up having different concepts and even more so better quality work than you can get in school.
Mushiri, have you ever thought of then moving your work and going to perhaps practice it in Western countries where visual art is much more appreciated?
I would, but maybe just for a little bit, for time, as I learn their way of working. But not necessarily like just moving there forever and ever. But because again, we also need to nurture talent here. So yes, right now we don't have a lot, but if I go there, maybe to a Western country just to do it for a bit, maybe. But yeah, we still need to come back home and teach the craft. Yeah.
What about you, Brian? Have you ever thought of jumping ship, packing, and perhaps moving to the Western world where visual art is much more appreciated?
Yeah, I thought about it, but then I thought it wasn't a good idea because, you know, on the other side, everybody's doing it. So it makes no point for you to be there doing it as well. And home is where it's at. You know, I'd rather do it here than go do it outside.
Intellectual property for visual artists. How difficult is that for you to get it onto your work, to make sure that your ideas are safe and that they belong to you?
So far, I wouldn't say I have any kind of way of protecting my artworks, apart from maybe branding it and putting my names or stuff in it, watermarks and stuff. So I wouldn't say there's any specific way of doing it as at now. But again, there are not many people who are going to take your work and run out with it.
Yeah,
so.
you never know, though.
Yeah, you never know. But yeah.
Most
of the time, for me, I like if you've seen the Bazokizo thing, you have seen. Yeah, I already put my names there. There's just clues of who did this work. Yeah.
Brian, go on.
Yeah, as Shiri said, watermarks and everything. But this is the thing. Necessarily, somebody may not just take your work, but they may take your idea, and that's the one that hurts me the most.
Have you found yourself in such a position?
No, not that I can remember, but I know of somebody that it happened to. Like, he had a project, and he wasn't finished with it. He was supposed to submit it somewhere. And he started sharing it, so someone stole his idea and then made it better than he had. So, and they submitted the project. Now he couldn't submit his because it's gonna look like, you stole his project when he's the one who actually stole yours. So that's something I've seen happen. But as far as someone stealing my work, nah, I don't think people are up on that.
Right. Mshiri, do you think that the government, one of the things that they can do to empower your industry is perhaps put policies that will then empower the work that you do? Because you said in itself, as animators, you're very few in numbers just in Kenya alone.
Yeah, they should really support this industry, because again, it's a big industry. It has a lot of potential. But again, if they do not support it, then no one's going to go into it. Policies that maybe they should put are maybe like even the film industry by itself, making it a bit easier to access. Yeah. So even for other guys to come here and maybe have workshops and do stuff, and maybe even shoot stuff and work with guys from international countries, and also maybe even giving us works to do, that's going to be to allow us to even put out more content and to make the industry work.
Yeah, create jobs.
All right, Brian, I would love to hear your closing remarks in regards to just the visual industry in itself.
Well, it's still a growing industry. It really needs support, though, because it's not as big as it could be. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say. I just really would love more support, because not a lot of people out there, and there's a lot of people with good work, quality work, for sure. It just needs a better platform. It's not out there. Not a lot of people have heard about this stuff. So, it's not exposed as it should be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shiri, your closing remarks?
Anyone who wants to go into animation, there is a lot of potential in it, and they should always do the best that they can do.
Right.
That's one of the things that makes you stand out. If you're going to do something, do it in the best way. We're many. We can team up. We can have something great for our country, for Africa, or whatever. So yeah. So if you're interested, you can just reach me at Jikiso the Artist, and House of Jikis on Facebook, so that we can connect and do work together.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. And I wish you all the best within your industry.
Thank you so much.
All right, a quick update of stories in the world of sports before we close off the show. Timothy Cheruiyot will lead the men's 1500 meters team that is expected to start during the Africa's Championships after emerging victorious in the final day of the National Athletics Champions Trials held in Nairobi. Cheruiyot won the race in a time of 3 minutes. 34.82 seconds. Elsewhere, Samuel made the cut to the final Kenyan team with a win in the men's 5,000 meters race as Cyrus Ruto finished the second place.
Samuel Cheruiyot finished first in the men's 5,000 meters finals race as the National Athletics Championships ended on Saturday at Kasarani Stadium in Nairobi. Cheruiyot won the race in a time of 13 minutes, 38.27 seconds, with Cyrus Ruto in the second place. In the men's 1500 meters race, Timothy Cheruiyot qualified for the finals after clocking 3 minutes, 34.82 seconds.
Nikienda na sheria na ng'ang'ana niingie medal, nilete medal. Yeah.
In the women's 5,000 meters race, 2017 London gold medalist Helen Osando Obiri was the usual star with a win after 15 minutes, 9.82 seconds. Lillian Kasait of Prisons finished on the second position.
Kwa sasa nimefurahia sababu nimeweza kutetea kikosi yangu ya KDF na sasa tunaangalia kwenda Africa from there at least we make sure tumequalify kwa Intercontinental Cup.
In the women's 3,000 meters steeplechase, it was Beatrice Chepkoech who led, while 2015 and the 2016 World Youth Champion Selfin Chespol finished on the second position.
Hapa tumejipanga vizuri, tuko na matumaini ya kwenda kwa washindi. Tutafuatana 1 2 3. Tuko na hope.
We target gold. Yeah, so tutaenda kung'ang'ana at least later gold.
The athletes selected from the trials will represent the country in the Africa Senior Championship set for 1st to 5th of August in Asafa, Nigeria.
Gor Mahia beat Ulinzi Stars 2-0 at the Faraha Stadium in Nakuru to extend their unbeaten run. Masuta Masita missed 2 glorious chances to give Ulinzi Stars the lead of the 4th and 6th minutes. Francis Kahata scored an early opener in the first half as Jacques made another goal in the 87th minute. Gor Mahia stand at the top of the Kenyan Premier League table with 43 points.
And it does help out. Here is a clearance that almost puts the ball in the net. It's there. Sheer hard work. The goalkeeper trying to clear it. The defenders as well. And Twisenge gets on the marker.
We defended really, really well when they had a chance to equalise when we cleared off the line. And that's what we had to do. We had to battle today.
My boys had a very good game. We created so many chances, and the difference between my players and Gor Mahia players, they get their chances, they turn them into goals.
In other news, Timothy Otieno and Boniface Mushiri propelled Tusker FC to a 2-1 win against Bandari FC in the FKF Shield Cup at the Mbakari Stadium, earning them a place in the round of 16. In other matches of the day, Kariobangi Sharks got a 4-2 victory against Wazito FC as Mwate United sailed through the next round after Usharu FC failed to turn up for the match. Xavier Harrende scored his 50th international goal to help Mexico take a big step towards the last 16 of the World Cup with an impressive win over South Korea. Despite Son Heung-min's stunning late strike in a different tie, Romelu as well as Eden Hazard both scored twice as Belgium strengthened their lead above England at the top of the Group G by crushing Tunisia with a devastating attacking display.
This mercurial Belgian talent scores with certainty. It's not taken them long, and Mertens pounced and Lukaku's ahead of him. It is Romelu Lukaku! It's two! He has fizzed that in! Right on top of his game, Romelu Lukaku! In by Kazri, it's a good header, they found something! Right back in it! Bron got across the Belgian defence and steered it home. Meunier. Lukaku this time! That is another delightful finish from Romelu Lukaku, who right at this moment shares the golden boot. Azar is onside here and beyond the keeper and had to score. Tielemans, Batshuayi has his goal, and Belgium have 5. Nages, Kazri, well, he'll have the last word, if not the most meaningful.
And Vela scores here in Rostov-on-Don, and Mexico are in front at this World Cup again, and good value for it. In Mexico's favour, it's Hernandez, who scores! That's well struck. Oh, what a hit that is! Korea Republic with one of the goals of the tournament out of nothing. Son has tried.
And that story brings us to an end here on Weekend Express. I'll be with you again for a quick update of stories making headlines at 1 p.m. But for our KTN News viewers, at 11 a.m., the biggest political morning show will be on. So stay with us.